Okay, so in this video, we are going to go through the alignment and the various tools available for that. You don't necessarily have to, in this particular video, do anything in your drawing, as we're just going to go through how the command is used, and that's the kind of thing. So let's look at where it is. Okay, so as we talk about on the workflow, okay, you'll notice we're kind of moving our way through kind of these parcels, feature lines, gradings, and now we're on alignment. And that's kind of also a nice little feature where you can get an idea of how to do that on the order of operations here. So if we click under the alignment, there's a number of different ways we can do it, just like when we did feature lines. So in this case, we've got the alignment creation tool. We have the also the alignment from objects we'll be talking about. So those are the two ones, and we're also going to be doing creating an offset alignment. Okay, you can also create an alignment from a pressure network, but we will not do that. So let's go ahead and we're going to do first. We're going to click here under the alignment creation tool. So just like when we did surface or anything, this is just to create it. It's just going to provide a name for it. I'm going to keep the default here for this particular exercise. And I'll go through a couple of these settings in here. So we can have different types. The most common one that you're going to see here is going to be centerline, and we will also do offset. Okay. You can designate the starting station for this. Okay. In our case, the most common one we're going to use will be 0. Okay, and you'll notice that for those unfamiliar on the how the name appears here for stationing, the 0 on the left side of the plus is hundreds, so that's hundreds of feet. So if this was starting at station 100, it would be 1 plus 0, 0.00. Okay, so if it's 101, it would be 1 plus 0, 1.00. Okay, and in here some general settings. We can designate what site it's going to go on. We'll keep none. What type of alignment this is, existing, proposed, offset, that sort of thing. We're going to keep it under proposed alignment for this one. You can also put labels on. So just like when we created parcels and you could label the property lines around the parcel, you can choose no labels. You can put in major, minor only. You can do all the geometric points. We're just going to keep all labels for now, but you can always go back and label it. Okay, so that's fine here. Now this is an interesting one, and we'll use this one in a second, but this kind of uses design criteria to create your road. Okay. And if you designate this, if we say, hey, use design criteria, it's going to look for a design criteria file, okay, that has the information on the required minimum radiuses based on a lot of things like lanes. This one's from ASH, American Society of Transportation. This is 2011. Okay, so you can change that. It also talks about for crime rates. So it will take into account design parameters to create it when you're just clicking and creating, hey, I want my road in this direction. Okay, so we're not going to do that for this particular exercise here. We're just going to uncheck all those. All right. Again, and then let's just hit OK. And it's going to bring up our alignment creation tools here. In here, we're going to work left to right. You can draw it in with tangent, no curves, and then you can add the curves later. You can draw it with curves. You'll notice here we have also, this is the curve settings. So when you do curves, you have to establish it. We're going to keep it here in colloidal. That's just a basic curve for an alignment. There's a whole other varieties there that you can see. And when you get into transportation design, you'll see those. Spirals, we will look at one real quick on that, but that's the spiral in spiral out. Spirals are basically curves that start with a radius of infinity, which is a straight line, and then slowly transitions into whatever the curve is. Okay, in this case, 200. And then when you're spiraling out, it will start with a radius, a spiral will start with a radius of 200, and then it will increase the radius to infinity until it connects to the other line that makes up the other tangent of this. So we're going to just keep this. So for this one, I'm going to set this one at 50 for the purposes of what we're doing here. And so I can draw it with no tangents. Let's just draw one. And I just hit return, and there it is. It started 0, 0, and you'll notice that it does not have a curve because I didn't draw it with a curve. All right. You can click this icon here, and it's going to bring up Pandora, and there is the properties of it. Okay. You can click on these grips also and move it around, and you'll notice it changed it, shortened it. Go back here, and those are the properties of it. Okay. So great way of editing that. All right. Okay, now we're going to do a alignment with curves. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing. We're going to go under alignment creation tool, keep the counter, center. We're going to keep none, proposed, all labels. That's all good, and I'm going to hit OK. And I'm going to make sure my curve settings, I'm going to put it at 50. That's fine. And then now I'm going to choose tangent with curve. Okay, so I'm going to just click and just click around at different points on the tangent of my line and hit enter. And now it has created curves using those settings. Okay, and if we click on it, okay, and well, here we go. I want to look at what I did, click on it, and say I want to edit my geometry. I'm back with this. Okay. So in other words, if once you've drawn and you escape, you're like, oh no, where's my tool? You just click on here, click on geometry editor, and we can click on here, and we can see. Let's expand this out. The radiuses. Okay. And you can do the same thing we did before, which is I can click on it and I can change my alignment on here, and experiment with that, draw it, move it, and it will change it in here as well. But I can also come back here, okay, and let's look for, here's a curve here, and let's say, oh, I don't want it to be 113, whatever. Let's say I want to make it 100. I can just type that in here, and it will modify it as well. And now that curve is exactly 100. So this is a nice way of doing that. And again, you got to make sure that you are in here at your spiral settings, but you can always go back and change that. So that's just the initial layout, what the default radius will be. Okay, but a very useful way of putting in an alignment, in this case with curves. All right, so now I'm going to create an alignment with spirals. Okay. Alignment creation tool, and I'm going to choose the name design for this. I'm going to use the design criteria, get all these checked here. I'm going to also make sure to check all these. Okay, put these in. We're going to probably have to adjust them. That's not a big deal. Let's make it 600 and 800 for now. That's fine. Default values there, and make sure you choose tangent with curve, and let's go ahead and do this. I'm going to go here, make a big curve, click here, and I'm going to make it to here. Okay, and hit enter, and you notice like, oh, I've got some warnings here. It's because the spiral isn't long enough. So let's adjust that. So we come in here on my design criteria. And the lengths here are 107, which is way too small. The spiral lengths there, it has to be. So I'm going to change that to 400. And this one to 400. Okay, let's see what that does. And there we go. And now you can see that spiral. So the spiral starts here. Okay, and you'll notice that, again, we were talking about the radius. It starts in infinity and then slowly comes into the radius for this one. Okay, and the reason we had this warning is that the distance it needed to transition safely for 60 miles an hour was longer than what was initially specified. So that's that kind of slow transition, and then at this point that's the curve, so it's a constant radius, and then it holds the radius and it slowly increases the radius till it comes out to a straight line. Okay, and that's the one there. So don't worry about that. Okay, that's just trying to show you some examples on how to use the spirals, the curves, and how to create alignments, and they'll all show up in here under your centerline alignments here. Okay, and there's my alignment and my design. Okay.